Okay, we're all set.
We're good. All righty. It is Wednesday, 27 July 2022, and this is a regular meeting of the Waterville Valley Select Board. I am Rich Reeder, the chair, and with me today is Vice Chair Margaret Turner and Select Board Member Bob Freeze. So we have a quorum. I see a bunch of folks out there. Anyone here for a privilege of the floor? You're waiting for, yes, John Racine, please.
Hi, John Racine. I'm here today representing the WVAIA. And my comment today is about parking. Every Sunday we have the croquet tournament up there between the, by your house.
Yeah, I usually walk by and wave to you guys.
Yeah, and I just want to know if we can get permission, if it's okay, we do park there now from 3 to 5. If it's okay if we still park there without anybody getting a ticket. That's my request.
Okay, I see what you're saying, because I think DPW recently improved that area around the culvert, put some crushed stone in that area there. I noticed it's got some pretty deep troughs in it from the rain.
Yep, we're gonna swap up material.
Okay. So, I mean, from a DPW standpoint, is there any difficulty with cars parked there?
It's pretty solid stuff.
Yeah, Margaret, Bob, you have any comment on it?
You're not talking about the tennis area. This is up closer to the croquet court.
Yeah, right, just up the road from the croquet
Oh.
court on the left.
Okay,
There's a little brook and a culvert, and DPW just made it, it looks like a little nice parking area now, actually. You can get, I don't know, what, 2-3 cars in there?
Yeah, sometimes maybe 4. But
Okay, 5, do I hear 5? Is anybody for 5? Chief, from a public safety, are you okay with it? All right, well, we are still planning to get together and work on the creating better parking in the areas in the north end of the valley. I think it was this fall, based on the new ordinance that was passed at town meeting this year, where we now have the authority actually to allow for some on-street parking. But I think in the interim, and it's just for the rest of the summer, I don't have any difficulty with it. Guys are good?
no,
All right, what should we do formally, Mark, as far as, is just a waiver or of the zoning, the parking, of the distributed parking ordinance?
Time frame. on
Okay.
it and
Until when you, okay, when you guys think you'll be done?
we go every Sunday from 3 to maybe 5:30. Say
Okay,
Till
when in the year?
Labor Day.
Till Labor Day.
Yeah.
Okay. So a motion to allow on-street parking adjacent to the croquet area. We'll say on Sunday afternoons through up to and including Labor Day weekend. Do I have a second?
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
On a similar note, I have my garage being re-roofed this week, Chief.
Yep.
And so we have to park probably Tuesday through Friday next week. We have to park down the bottom of the driveway, and then sometime shortly after that, a week or two later, the driveway is going to get redone, and so that has to, all the pavement has to get ripped up, and so I'm not sure of the date of that, but that'll be.
It's going to be yours and Pat's car basically. 1 more.
Pardon me.
Probably 3 cars out there.
Yeah, I think 3.
Yeah, I'll put Tuesday to Friday next week, and then when the meeting comes, just let me know.
Okay.
That shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, was there anybody else privilege of the floor? Yeah, absolutely. Jenny, right? I'm having trouble with my eyes. I
No,
can't.
I'm pretty far away. too.
No, well, anyway, yes,
Sure,
ma'am.
I should, my comments should be during privilege of the floor, or I had some comments about presentation that Mark and Dylan gave to the Conservation Commission yesterday about well number 4 maintenance. And I don't know if Dylan's gonna be addressing that today or not, if I should.
We do have it, but it talks about, well, no, not about well for maintenance per se.
No, it's not on.
It's not, so go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, So yesterday, Mark and Dylan, you know, the amazing presentation brought us up to speed on all sorts of water projects. And one of them was well number 4 maintenance. And we talked about new beaver activity or enlarged beaver activity in the area that is causing the town hydrologist to think that it might pose some contamination threat at some point down the road and continues to well number 4.
Mhm.
So a couple of things I thought about last night when I left. One, they said they were gonna be trapping and killing the beavers. And the second one is that Dylan said it's our best well. So we can't risk contamination. And my thoughts are, well, my whole knowledge comes from, up until last night, comes from a book that I read called Eager Beaver, which basically talks about the benefits that beavers have to all water supplies, you know, everywhere. If they have a bad rap, you know, a lot of people think beaver's bad, they have to go. But then I did a little bit more research last night about the specifics of how they help groundwater. And I think the reason why well number 4 is our best well is because of the beaver activity in the area. And I wondered if anyone had given thought to maybe not removing the beavers, but just removing the monstrous spruce tree or whatever kind of tree it was that precipitated this new dam activity instead. Because I know for a long time, they just had that one dam up above. And then this new tree, they went wild on building another dam down below, and then there's another one.
Yeah, it's quite impressive.
Yeah,
So
the
I just
engineering
didn't
is
know if
amazing.
anyone
Yeah.
given any thought to, maybe this has already been hashed out already and I'm late to the game, but. The benefit to not being so drastic to remove, you know, to remove the beavers and just try to remove the dams first. And I know it's like, you know, they'll build again, but the reason I think they built that other one was because of the down tree. Because for a long time it was just the one, but anyway, those are my thoughts. I didn't know how thoroughly it had been discussed and vetted and.
Can I?
Yes, please, Chris.
So we discussed it first with the hydrologist. The issue is the potential for changing the groundwater hydrology. And the big dam that they built first probably did, and in fact covered up one of our monitoring wells when they built it. And that really didn't cause any concerns for the hydrologists. The new dams, because they are getting so close, they're within 50 feet of the actual wellhead itself now. That is where the contamination concerns are coming from. We had the same issue out at well 3. There's obviously a lot of beavers between Triple I Road and the peninsula where well 3 is located. Are you familiar with that? Again, as they're further away, it's not a contamination issue because the ground will filter out the contaminants. But the problem that we had were that the beavers got into the west branch of the Mad River and got very close to the well. And when that happened, the wells were contaminated, bacteria, E. coli. So that is the concern that we have, it's how close they are. We did talk with the Forest Service and their hydrologists talked to the town hydrologist about the best way to do this. And we also had their biologists as far as the conversation about the removal of the beavers. And that's why I mentioned yesterday that the Forest Service does not want to continually go in there and remove the beavers. So we will try to find ways to keep them away. But the problem is now that they're established to the level that they are, really the only way we're going to get rid of them is for this particular group of beavers is to remove them. Then we're gonna make sure that we have removed the immediate group. And then we'll find alternative methods to make sure that new ones do not move in. And as I mentioned yesterday, also, we're leaving the big dam, we're only removing the ones that are closer to the well. So that the really large pond that's out there will stay there. And quite frankly, we have been using well for how many years? 8 years, and we haven't affected the water table in there at all. We monitor it every year. And so we're doing very well, we're doing a good job at using that well and not affecting the water resources. And part of that may be coming from the fact that that large pond has been built. So it's actually helpful. So I understand what you're saying about them being beneficial, but at some point they do threaten.
Yeah, the main issue is because it's within the 400 foot well, that is state that law. It's not
Okay.
an arbitrary thing, so we can't have any influence on the wellhead within the well, regardless of which well it is. So if it was well 2 or well 3, for example, we still have the same issue.
Okay.
So
I just worry that if you dismantle the whole system in there, then all of a sudden well 4 is no longer your best.
No.
What the heck was well 4?
Those smaller dams that are getting closer are less than a year old,
don't have they're from the past. couple months.
just a few months, so we're not, we don't think there will be any, given our monitoring, don't think there will be any negative impact.
Thank you.
Does that answer?
Anything like that?
As I said, they are true engineering
They are,
models,
they are.
especially the big one, yeah.
It's unfortunate that they just can't be relocated. I mean, I'm very dismayed at this as well. I have to listen to the experts as to what the best course of action is, given the importance of well 4 to the town's water supply. Garrett or Reggie, did you have a privilege of the floor item? Okay, so why don't we go ahead and move to approval of the minutes? I see, I did not get to the second set of meeting minutes yet. I did get to the June 22nd, I think. Sharon, did you get the,
I did get the.
did you get a chance? The main thing is we were missing the rec department report. It just was a blank. It had the language.
I don't think there was a report that.
Oh,
No,
okay.
she-
So that should just be taken out then.
Yeah, so I just put the statement there as well.
Oh, okay. So you did that.
Were you-
On that.
Oh, yeah, there is no recreation report. I see it now.
She wasn't here.
Okay, no, I see you put the statement. So you made that correction.
I did.
So we're good on the 22nd. I'm fine with the first set of minutes on the 15th. So if we could just defer on the second set on the 15th.
Okay.
Someone
We'll move
want,
that to next.
yeah, move it to the next regular meeting. Does someone want to make a motion on the approval of the minutes for the 22nd and the first set of the 15th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Financial update.
Two items with the financial update. We have the expenditure report, revenue and expenditure report as of yesterday.
Oh, it's in the packet.
Yeah, it is in the packet. Everything is tracking pretty well. We have meetings scheduled, I think, next week or the week after to review revenue numbers with the department heads in preparation to make recommendations to you for modifications for tax rate setting on the revenues. So we'll be doing
Good.
that. I think we're bringing that back to you the second meeting in August for the adoption of those revisions. But we are tracking very well on the revenues.
It looked like Parks. Is light on revenue.
Yeah, right now it shows that it's light because the majority of its revenue comes from the waterfront income. And right now we've only collected for May and, not sure about June. I think we collected for
We
June
have-
too. So our biggest months are July and August, and those have not come in yet. So that'll be like,
That,
From the WVRA, from
Oh.
the past program.
okay,
So
so
when
that
they,
collectively, that'll be, about $35,000.
yeah, so I expect we'll be right where we anticipate. The used looks like it's about the same.
Yeah, the use is a little
As
up
yeah.
from last year. And then we have hopefully some after school programming and some other guided, programs that will happen in the fall.
Okay.
So I'm not worried about it right now.
how about state revenues?
State revenues always come in at the end of the year.
Okay.
And actually, I want to address those. I can either talk about those now or later.
Sure, no, go ahead.
So,
Since Bob brought it up.
In your packet, there is a notice that I received this morning from the New Hampshire Municipal Association. The state revenue sharing and aid to towns and cities have been adjusted by the legislature, and the governor has signed the bills. So right now, it looks like our total state revenues are going to increase substantially. First of all, we're going to receive an additional almost $12,000, $11,814 in highway block grant monies. That'll get added to the 12 or 13,000 that we were slated to receive. So
Substantial is
our total-
relative, as a relative.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's small numbers, but it's almost a 50% increase. But 23,851 will be that new highway block grant number. We also will receive $36,826 in bridge aid money. We do not currently in our budget have any.
That's new,
bridge,
yeah.
Well, yes, for a blanket to send to each town an amount of money for bridge aid.
Right,
Is a new program.
okay,
I anticipate it'll be a 1-year program because this is ARPA money, so it isn't something we're gonna get every year.
right,
But we're going to make sure that we can encumber that in the capital reserve. So that when we have to make repairs to the bridges, we'll be using this money. So, but that's $36,800 that we weren't getting yesterday.
we're getting up there.
And then we're going to get a reimbursement on 7.5% of our payments this year for retirement. That right now, if we use the number on our personnel calc sheet for retirement pay, group 1, group 2 just means that it's the administrative people, it's not fire and police. So we're gonna get 10,586 against that, those payments. That'll be adjusted a little bit depending on what we actually spend, because overtime and everything else goes into that calculation. So that's a total of about 70, almost 70,000 additional.
So, good.
You know, the next category is grants. Is that the replacing the firearms and
The $50,000 that.
breathing apparatus?
Yeah, for the EMS equipment that you voted on.
To accept,
A
right?
couple of minutes ago, or a couple of months ago.
Anything else on financial?
Yes, we have the audit report balance sheet. The audit is finalized, it's being sent to the Department of Revenue Administration. We ended the year in about the position that we thought we would be in. I think we projected $827,000 in the fund balance.
Mhm.
At the end of the year, we ended up with 835, almost 836,000. So that is a function of unanticipated revenues and unexpended budgetary numbers, but it tracked very closely to
Right.
what we told town meeting.
Right. And that's the calendar year,
That's calendar
calendar year, so
12/31/20.
2020, right.
Yeah. So we're doing well. You'll notice in the capital improvements column is now on our balance sheet. This is new for 12/31/21. There is a negative $5,900,000 there, but that is bonding that is authorized and was not
Taking it.
taken
Right.
by that time.
Right.
By 12/31. Everything else is good unless you have any questions.
Anything further on financial? Okay, let us move along to our department head reports. Start with Chief Payer this time, I guess, unless somebody has to go quick.
David's here.
Dave needed to go.
Back and start. And all.
You sure? I'm sorry.
It's very quick. We're doing fantastic.
All right, that's what we're here for.
We're busy. It's the summer. It is what it is. Radar trailer. It's out every Friday again as a reminder. The other thing is noise for the construction. Please don't hesitate to call us. We can't really enforce it. Not really. We can't enforce it once we have a complaint.
Yeah.
I've got one of the guys sitting out there in the morning where we've got the most complaints on Golden Heights area. But don't hesitate. Noise complaints. If we don't get called, we can't address it. So you don't hesitate. Please call us. That's really all I have to.
What, I assume there's a permit for whatever's going on in the Snows Mountain, the VBTS parking lot.
Yeah, that's construction on the house just above it.
Is that like a walkway up to the house and a new parking area? That's what I guess.
No, they're just storing their materials there. They're putting in a patio.
Oh.
Stone. It's a lot of stonework, and they asked permission from BBTS to store some of their product down there.
What was the clearing for though?
I'm not quite sure. You don't need a permit to cut trees.
You know, they cut the trees and then they did stump grinding.
Yeah. Out in front. I can only assume it's just to kind of help improve the view there. I'm not sure. Just going through my list right now, James and Zach both passed their practical EMT exams last night. So we're very proud of them. Now it's just a paperwork shuffle in order to get their license. So we're very proud of them for their successful completion. They're actually the first two out of their whole class to get it done. Been very busy with inspections. We did Golden Eagle this week, the Snowy Owl Inn. I've got the Valley Inn coming up along with them. Those take quite a while to do. I had our ISO visit today with the ISO folks. Both Jim and I got A's according to what they told us.
For the audience, could you please?
As far as our preparation, we'll see if that translates to our score. But
Could you define it, Chief ISO, for the folks in the audience?
So ISO, this is an independent company that insurance companies use. They give each town a rating based on their water capabilities and their fire department. And based on this rating, it determines what you pay for insurance for the next 5 years. So it's one part water and what we have for our capacity, our distribution, that sort of thing. And then it falls on the fire department, our equipment, our training, number of trucks, personnel and staffing is what they look at. So it's quite intensive, but I think we did pretty good. And it's my first time going through it personally. So it was a good learning experience. on that end. So we'll find out. I think it takes a while for us to actually get our score. There's a chance that if we think we're not scored properly, we can appeal it to them and prove otherwise. So it'll be a little bit. And also been very busy on final preparations for National Night Out next Tuesday evening at the Sugar Shack campground in Thornton off of Route 175. Usually we have a very good turnout. We've had a lot of support and our sponsorships have been very strong. Workers on the board with me and the other towns certainly have been putting in a lot of effort this year in getting sponsorships and really working to make sure it's a good event for everyone. So that's going to be 5 to 8 p.m. next Tuesday evening. Attended the Vintage Bazaar. Didn't seem like there was any issues there this weekend. Seemed like a nice event. And I just want to confirm the decision was for fireworks for Sunday, Labor Day weekend.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we were going
Saturday
to
or Sunday.
just confirm that was good with the Resort Association,
And I did
and they're good with that
Sunday.
Sunday of
Sunday
Labor
is
Day weekend.
the preference right
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I'll let Atlas know that. If that's the date that they, that we get there. And then we had some questions about some, code enforcement, things, if we want to discuss that. Now I'd be happy to.
Yeah, no, why, you got the floor, go for it.
So right now, the way I'm handling code enforcement is if I receive a complaint or I see something, code related, we don't have a formal complaint process other than I receive an email or someone sees me in town square. I do investigate all of them. I typically will interpret what I see based on what the code and then what is the issue. And then at that point, I'll either find a resolution, whether it's a letter saying, hey, you gotta fix this, and give them a certain amount of time to do so, typically 30 days, or to the complainant, either it's unfounded. I don't find anything. I think moving forward, I can certainly formalize the complaint process where the normal citizen wanted to make a complaint. We can do that. But I haven't really seen any issues. These kind of come up kind of few and far between, but they seem a little more common lately.
I think we had 4 come in front of the board in the last month and a half, in various stages.
Yeah.
Right.
And I am comfortable fielding all those, and I know in discussions with Mark, having him and I being able to interpret based on our zoning and the other codes that we can determine whether or not these things are an issue. What I would like the Board of Selectmen to do is be the appellate. Is if they don't like our decision, they should be coming to you to appeal if they don't like our decision, whether the resolution was unfounded and they didn't like my answer, or if I summon somebody or give them a violation and they don't think that I applied the code correctly. Our process is they should be coming before you, and the board should be making a decision on how to move forward from that point forward. What I want to do is remove you from the process. You're getting a lot of these code complaints that I think should be coming to me first. And because your position, I think in this process should be kind of like the judge. Should go before the judge if they don't like that.
I agree.
Yeah, I just make one other point. I have spent too much time looking at the zoning regulations. First of all, I was looking for what do you do if somebody doesn't comply, and there are no fines listed in there at all. So I wasn't sure what the answer to that was. The second thing I'm concerned about is I guess we have to have town council confirm this, but it does not appear that the selectmen have the authority to waive zoning regulations. They're not our ordinances.
Right.
They are not selectmen ordinances, right?
Yes, it is a town ordinance and it's
Right.
voted on.
And it's voted on. So I don't think we have any choice but to follow what the ordinances are. And I understand what you're saying in terms of we can be in appeal in terms of whether we interpret things the same way that the code enforcement officer does, but we do not have the authority to waive the requirements of the zoning ordinance.
But, right, so
It-
the way that,
Go ahead.
I agree with what Dave said, but I just make one modification to it.
Okay,
If there's a question that he and I have that on an interpretation, I would rather that the two of us bring that into you, because the Board of Selectmen is ultimately the enforcement authority, okay? It isn't an appeal by the person that has made the complaint or the
Right.
person that had the complaint was against. They appeal to the ZBA.
correct.
But if it's a clear, if it's a cut and dried thing.
Right.
Dave, between the two of us, we'll issue a letter, right, that here's the decision. And then if someone disagrees with that letter, they can appeal that to the ZBA, and there's a process for the ZBA to do that. But if it's something that's really questionable, we'll bring that into a board meeting, whether it's special or regular. And have you weigh in then, so that the letter that we send initially to whoever,
So you're coming to us for more
guidance,
guidance, but not a waiver.
not a waiver.
Yeah.
And it would just be the interpretation guidance, yes.
Please.
And what is the answer to the question if somebody refuses to comply with the zoning regulations? What?
It's a town ordinance violation. We then refer to state statute, and then it just goes under, typically, depending what it is, I'd have to look under zoning. Most town ordinances are violation. The level of offense is up to $1,000 fine. The fines are pretty arbitrary, so pick a number in between that $1,000.
Zero.
Yeah, and what I read about zoning regulations, which I also spent too much time looking at in the last week, was that it was like $275 for the first offense and then $550, and it's $275 a day for every day that you're not compliant. But it wasn't clear to me that the town could actually fine the individual. It sounded like a judge in court had to make that
We
decision.
do have to go to court.
Okay,
Yeah. So I write a town ordinance summons.
It's a summons.
So there's a summons, if there's a violation, someone's not in violation, I fill out a town ordinance summons. Hand it to them, they can pay a civil forfeiture to the town for whatever the amount is for the infraction. Or they can choose to go to court. And if they go to court, then, okay, that's fine, then.
and again, my understanding is if they go to court and they lose, then whatever money the town spent defending itself, they also have to pay.
Well, they don't have to, we request of the court that they include costs, and sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
So the 2 points I would make is that, one, we have a code enforcement officer who is our agent. So it makes perfect sense to me, and no surprise to anybody here. I'm a procedure process kind of guy, and in the hope that we end up with equitable treatment for everybody. The best way to do it is through process and procedure, and we have an agent that we've delegated. And I don't mean the powers, but to act on code enforcement issues, and then it's up to that agent to come to us if there's an issue in his or her mind of how to resolve an issue. So I think that's That's the perfect way to handle it. I would also point out, though, that it could be somewhat confusing. You may recall that we had an issue come before us concerning a boat that could be seen from a town-maintained way. And there's some language here we have to play with, but we choose to use town-maintained way as a synonymous with a public way or public road. And my initial reaction was, when it was requested the select board would grant some type of waiver, was, well, isn't that a ZBA issue? And I was told, well, no, because, and it does, it says right in that particular zoning ordinance, the selectmen may approve permits for temporary storage. So it's a matter of language.
Well, right, I mean, but that
Right.
was adopted by the town.
That's
so
right.
that you can do that in that.
So,
case.
so what I'm trying to say, there are some instances where we do have the ability. It's not really a waiver,
No,
although we are waiving a provision, but for a set period of time because we have
you've
the
been
power.
given that.
In this particular case, we have the power to do so, but I think, yeah, we've been.
But if there's a
Mhm.
statement in the ordinance that something has to be a certain way, you can't just decide, well, in this case, that doesn't apply.
That's correct. And frankly, we did that, I think, on the parking, on-street parking. We created on-street parking without having that power in an attempt to bend over backwards to help one of the commercial businesses here. So, yeah.
And I had another question too. In terms of people complaining, if you have a neighborhood in which there is a complaint made and the person doesn't live in the neighborhood, and the individuals, for instance, that surround that property have no difficulty with what is going on in terms of the storage, because quite frankly, the snowmobile trailer that is across from my property is totally screened by trees on all sides. You cannot see it from the road unless you go down the driveway. And none of the, sorry?
Unless you're trespassing.
Yes, and none of the abutting properties have a good view of it because there are trees all around it. So the situation is somebody comes forward and says, well, they shouldn't be able to park that snowmobile there, the snowmobile trailer there. What's the answer to that question? It's not a neighbor.
That I have to apply it just like I would if they were neighbors, because there's no provision that says only the people that live nearby can complain. Anybody can complain about it, but what I have to look at it is, okay, is this the intent of the ordinance? Is this what the true meaning of what they were trying to accomplish here? And then I will look at it, and I would like to think of myself as a reasonable person. Would interpret, is it screened? Would a reasonable person have an issue with this? And certainly the weight that is not a neighbor, I would take into some consideration in saying, no, I think this complies with the ordinance. This isn't an issue.
And that, I'm sorry.
Okay, no.
I drove around there and I couldn't
Yeah.
find out
Well,
which house it was, because I couldn't see it anywhere.
That complaint,
This time of year.
that complaint can always come in front of the board.
Right.
I think is the point we're
That's
making
what we
here,
have privilege of the floor.
right? And raise the issue. I mean, I think we tried as a board over the years to apply this reasonable person standard and trying to interpret what can be fuzzy or complicated language. And sometimes it works for some people and sometimes it doesn't work for some people. But that's always been, I think, our approach, and to be very accommodating to the extent we can. And we do have a permissive zoning ordinance, which isn't what it sounds like.
Right.
You know, permissive zoning ordinance actually means that it has to be specifically stated as a permitted use or accessory or whatever, but not that you can do anything. It's because we think of permissive in a different way. And that's why we don't want to list every single every single possibility in the ordinance because it gets us away from this reasonable person standard and the thing becomes too unwieldy. And then there's no interpretation that anyone can apply. So there are a lot of factors at work here. In any event, I appreciate this discussion. I think we have board agreement on how to move forward on these in the future. And for anyone listening out there, this doesn't mean you can't come and complain to your select board member. Always feel free to come and complain, and then, you know, we will tell you,
guys get
come in front of the
let's
board.
Do it the way that we did in this case. And
yes,
forward them to Dave and I,
and
we'll deal with them and
As a-
report back to you.
that's fine and works. I think hopefully will work going forward. Anything else on the matter, Margaret? Bob, Chief, you good?
I'm good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's all you have.
Yes.
Okay, so we're done with Patrick. Yep. Everything's cool, everything's good, right? Okay, everything's awesome. All right. So let's see, Brooke, would you care to so you can get back to your camping?
Yes, I
Yeah.
can. So our camp numbers, I think you received in the packet, are looking good, and with the numbers that we have right now, we should end the season with plus 48 from last year. So then that would be another record.
Another record.
So that would be great. And that's very likely that will be the record year. It just depends if we'll get more kids signed up between now and then. Camps are going well. It's halfway in terms
I'm
of
gonna
our.
say we're well into the summer now, and
Yeah.
you got what, a few more weeks?
We're in our 5th week right now.
Yeah. Only
So
about 3
we
left.
have week 6, 7, and then we have a field trip week 8. So yeah, it's going really well.
Excellent.
Facility rentals we have a lot of those this week. Today we had a big family reunion group on Packard Field for 6 hours. You may have seen them organizing their own games. Tomorrow we have Campton Rec. They're gonna be here with their entire camp on Packard and on the beach and renting our boats. So that's great. Then this weekend we have
Good.
Plymouth State University coming.
Yes, I think I heard that somewhere.
And we were, just one thing on that was that
Sure.
because it may come up with signs that we allowed them directional signs.
Yes,
that
I
we
was gonna
allowed
bring that
them
up.
to do last year,
Right,
we were
right.
assuming we could do that again. So.
Okay. And then we have the.
We don't want anybody getting lost up here.
The blood drive is on August 20th, and that's a collaboration with the Historical Society.
Yeah.
And I'll be a director.
Yay, Reggie, good job.
In the multi-purpose room.
Yeah, are they gonna have enough people? Do we know yet? Last year, I think we had people who were turned away.
Who's that? For the way?
Red Cross blood drive.
A lot of staff from the Red Cross this year. We have a new representative and she assures me that we won't have enough. Red
Excellent.
Cross staff.
And they came out and did a field visit to certify both the multi-purpose room and the gym. But the gym doesn't have air conditioning. That's one of their requirements. So,
Really?
yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, they do. They have quite a list of requirements.
Hmm.
And that's all I have for my list. National Night Out, Dave already covered that. That's coming right up. We have all of our camp staff going to help out with that.
Great. Any questions, observations?
Nope.
All righty. Let us move on to the Department of Public Works.
Things are going well. It's been a nice summer so far, except for, we'll see. But at any rate, we'll probably, hopefully the next day or two, know a little bit more about when to expect that back. Right now, I'm expecting it back next week. I've been in touch with Casella just in case we need their services again.
Are we still in that
So, yeah.
gray zone about
Well,
extending for a month
If you
or
want to look
Casella?
at, I gave you a 2-pager
Oh,
that I
okay.
handed you. If you look at the second page of that, it's the,
Trash structure cares and temporary replacement page.
yeah,
Okay,
so it's, this is just a
Ouch.
breakout of what we've
Yeah.
spent or what we estimate we're going to spend. Totals about $36,900 right now.
and we're gonna lose the warranty battle.
Well,
We don't know.
we don't know that.
Okay,
So I did put in, if not covered by the warranty,
right.
that will be 12,000 of that 36. So, but we spent the $7,400 for Casella over the 4th of July weekend. That's based on our estimate of what they've taken out. We have not received the wage slips yet. So that $1,730 extra tipping fee is an estimate, right?
Right,
So
for the total of
it's
7,400,
based on last year's.
Tonnage.
so 7,500 is the guess.
The rental truck, $1,700 to get it here, transportation costs, $7,000 for the month of July. And $2,000 to return it. I think, if we're looking at, about $5,100 as our estimate for Casella's services, if it took an additional week or two with the repairs. I think we should get a readout from McDevitt, who's doing the repairs on the truck. Make sure that they haven't run into anything by the end of the day tomorrow. And then we should contact the rental company and return the truck, would be my recommendation.
We have to do that by Friday, right? The end of the month.
We have to do it by Friday. So that would be $7,000 more, if even for a day into August. So, you know, we're looking at,
So you think we're gonna get it back next week?
Yes, I'm hoping.
yeah, that's.
But even if we don't, we have to
But even if
sell
we
it,
had to go another week,
it's
I
still
think
cheaper.
this 5,100 is enough to cover that.
They
second
available,
week.
have,
Casella,
Casella, well, they won't be available, like on call available. They'll make themselves available to accommodate us and service us
Okay.
as best they can.
now that means that some of the times visiting dumpsters and tipping them are gonna be different. Potentially, right, if Casella's doing it, we may have to wait a day or something like that, but. I think we can make do with about another $5,000 to $6,000, so. I would recommend that we return the truck.
any discussion? Do you need a vote on this?
No, I don't, I just.
Just go forward with the plan to
Yeah, and we'll.
work with Casella and hope we get the truck soon back as soon as possible
I'll let you know by
to limit,
email.
the limit costs.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yep. Good, Margaret. Okay.
I have not got a date yet for the painting of the ice arena. I expect he will start in a day now, hopefully. It's what he had indicated to me when I gave him the almost unanimous choice of color.
What did you go with?
Which one did you take?
You had light, medium, and it was like
It was the middle.
three
The
bears,
middle one.
of course.
Yeah.
The middle one, right? Goldilocks with
Everyone
three
goes
bears.
slow.
Yeah, all right.
And then other than that.
Red is red.
You've just got items to discuss under old business? Unless you have something for me.
Now we can move on. Do you have anything more at this point?
I was reminded of a couple things.
Sure.
Right now, the siding, I'm sure you've seen the school. The siding
Oh, yes, they
stripped on half of it.
on the far, yeah, the other end, yeah.
Today, they're doing doors, those critical doors.
That was a different project, right?
Yes.
Right.
So I think they said they'd be done with that in a day, maybe two, but that's not impacting us terribly. We're able to work around it.
You will have your ice cream social tonight.
Yes.
So I have two grandkids that are looking forward to it.
Good. I did. I got one of them on the boat.
Oh, nice.
And then the other is, I just want to let you know that we did send an email out to our existing after-school families to kind of pull them on what their use might be this fall.
Oh, yeah.
To get a handle on what the need is and to be able to meet that the best we can. I just wanted you to know that as an update to our conversation.
I come with the school board.
Yeah.
Great. Great. All righty.
Dylan, current operation.
Oh, I see a hand back. Can I, John, yes?
Am I alive by asking about the gated dumpster area?
We're gonna get to that as part of our business, so if you can just hold it.
Yeah.
We will not miss it.
Current operations, everything seems to be going well. Haven't had any major issues by any means. since the last meeting we had.
It's like Santa Claus.
Great.
All of a sudden, yeah,
I know.
it's like,
Shit, why do you say those things out loud? You can't do that.
because it's so unusual. I think the,
But breaking one's going on.
Yeah, and biologically.
another month, right?
Hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have it biologically, we're running around the three
With
and a half.
no chemicals.
Right.
Yeah, no chemical addition whatsoever. And last year we didn't have biologically until the middle of September. So if we can get it before August, that'd be great. It'll save us half the chemical usage that we typically would use. So all is good there.
Does that mean no more rain or a little rain or
Hopefully no more rain.
no more rain?
No more rain.
So we want everything to dry up and turn brown.
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure that's what the
Nice and.
wastewater treatment plant operator is advising the town.
What is surprising when you get your month-end usage paperwork, you'll see the wastewater numbers are down significantly compared to the drinking water, because we don't have a water ban this year.
Right,
We did.
we took it off, right?
So there's a lot of people that are irritated.
Irritated. We need
And
to.
our water usage is gonna be
Okay,
pretty much right on, as long as that trend continues, right on key with 21 and 20.
and where are we with regard to the drought status?
We're gonna monitor drought.
We're back into that, because I know we fluctuated right on the line for a while.
Yeah, and if we don't,
Okay,
we're only anticipating, I think 3/10 of an inch of rain tomorrow, and then showers on Friday. So nothing, big.
are you recommending action on it before the next meeting? Or
No, I don't.
As far
I
as,
don't think that there's any.
changing our
The-
water restriction?
The well levels are doing fine, it's
Okay.
a minor drought status, so we basically use that level as our monitoring, we're just keep an eye on it.
Okay,
If we were to move back to moderate drought, then yes,
Less severe, we're in a
of
moderate.
course, I mean, that's, sorry, moderate.
Okay. so you're not recommending any water restrictions at this time, but to continue monitoring the situation. And then we have different levels of restrictions that we can apply depending upon how moderate or severe it is.
Right, every
Okay.
Thursday they release the drought
state,
status.
right.
Yeah, and it's a national thing, it's across the country.
Oh, interesting.
So I think suppose keep an eye on that and see how that trends.
Okay,
Other than that, there's no real updates since the last meeting that we had in regards to water projects or wastewater. Greenish is supposed to be fully mobilized as of Monday, this upcoming Monday. And construction.
okay. It's still on track.
Yeah, and we haven't heard anything otherwise. I spoke with our engineer, Bouchard, the other day, and he hadn't indicated anything otherwise, so all was good.
So Monday morning, or is it Tuesday morning?
Monday morning.
Monday morning is
When they should be fully mobile.
hopefully.
Yeah.
All right, and
And
they're gonna do the water line first, is that the
they're supposed to do the river crossing,
river crossing? That's what I meant, right, that line
Yeah.
right there.
so hopefully the rain will hold off until they're done with that, because.
This is right, we want low river
Yeah,
water, got it,
exactly.
okay,
And the only other thing I have, is, well, two things that actually, we had our annual inspection, I believe, our treatment facility by the, Department of Environmental Services, no deficiencies, everything was well. It's really it's an audit of our lab work, so on and so forth, just make sure everything is done appropriately, so we're good there. Then tomorrow is the Whitefield visit. So the only thing I would recommend is bring a raincoat, because we don't know if we're gonna get showers or not.
Oh,
It's gonna
okay.
be outside primarily,
Okay,
I wear closed toe shoes,
okay.
so,
and wash your wear clothes.
Long.
Okay.
yeah, don't wear those,
Don't wear shorts.
no.
Well, you may want to jump in the shower anyway, that's a
Okay.
personal decision. So you guys are set for tomorrow at 8 o'clock?
8:30.
8:30, okay,
8:30 at town hall.
okay, so you
I'll
want
start here at 8.
at 8 at the planning board, so I'll be
Yeah.
doing the planning board meeting,
Yeah.
you guys can go
I'll start here and then I'll. be-
to Whitefield, okay, very good.
Yeah.
All righty, anything else? All
That's all.
righty, any questions?
No, I don't think we got Patrick though. I don't think we got him.
He said everything was good.
Oh, we got
Everything
everything.
is awesome. Awesome. That was the word he
Oh,
used.
okay.
Awesome. All right. And I don't see Steve.
No, he's not here.
Oh, that's right. He's on vacation this week.
But
Anything you'd like to?
Sharon does have a little bit of an update. I think I put it in your packet. So it's the one that has the NHMA
Yep.
cover, and it's a 4th page down. I'm sorry, that's my request. I'm sorry, it's the 6th or 7th page. There's a report from Whitney Consulting
Got
Group
it.
regarding the
Yep.
appraisal.
The appraisal, the status of where they're at with their work.
Oh,
And,
good.
They have been progressing along nicely. They are, approximately from the last time they spoke with the board, about 2 weeks behind from their original schedule that they put forth when we entered into the contract. So they're continuing along those lines, still. I don't think there's gonna be any delay in filing of our reports for GRA that need to get done. If there is a delay, there is a process
Yeah.
for that, and they know that process.
And
well.
Bob, you haven't been through this yet, but we provide a report called the MS1 form to Department of Revenue Administration every year. That's usually submitted at the beginning of September. I would anticipate that it will be at least 2 to 3 weeks late minimum this year for us, but some towns don't get it until the beginning of December. So it's just that form gives a very detailed breakout of the total valuation of the town. Breaks out all the different property types and the amount of money associated with buildings and land and all that. So we have to finish the reval project, set the new values, and then produce the MS1. So that's why I think it will be late. Right now, they're looking, if you look at the last bullet they're gonna be sending out the value impact notices to property owners by the end of next week. So August, what is that, 4th or 5th?
I take back what I said about contacting the
And then
select board member.
The
Have
beginning,
any
yeah,
issues?
right, yeah.
Ooh, bad timing.
And or the beginning of the week of the 8th of August. So I think it is important for anyone watching, everyone here, when you get those notices in the mail, they're gonna give you your current valuation for your property, and they're gonna give you a new valuation for the property. There's gonna be instructions there to contact Whitney Consulting Group, who are assessors doing the work, and they will hold public hearings or hearings with people.
Who want to dispute, or questions, or if you want to dispute the,
Right.
Yeah, and I'll
dispute
get
the
those-
assessment.
So don't call me, I'm just begging, don't call me selectmen because.
We'll just screw it up anyway.
Talk to the assessors anyway.
I
So-
will get the language that they're going to use in that letter.
And we'll email.
And every property owner will be getting
Like I'll
a
post
letter.
on the website,
Okay.
Yeah.
we'll direct something to the website on Facebook.
So does Whitney have the final word?
Who?
This firm?
No, you do. So what'll happen is they'll conduct those interviews.
Yeah.
They'll go back, make any revisions, and then they're going to give you the entire list by map and lot number. And they're gonna say, this is what we recommend for the valuations. And then you review it and question them and then vote on it.
Okay,
And then once you vote on it, then we submit the MS1.
all right. And if somebody's unhappy, then they file for an
They
abatement.
file for it.
Okay.
They have that, after they receive their second tax bill.
Okay.
the year they have that.
What we find is, I mean, historically here, because we do these interviews, everybody kind of gets their information forward, and historically, we haven't had many abatements.
Okay.
Yes, Jim.
I have a question, just where I used to live, we would have these periodic reassessments too. And everyone around here seems to be saying, oh, my God, our taxes are gonna go through the roof, it's gonna be ridiculous because valuations went up so much. But when we did our reassessments back in Massachusetts, the town would reassess you, but then they would also adjust your tax rate. Is that part of this process?
Yeah, exactly so.
Part of the
Yeah, it's kind of
formula.
like that.
It's not a one for one increase. You won't be taxed at the new
I
value.
didn't know.
Right, we don't even know what the budget's gonna be next year, we're gonna have a bigger pie to deal with in terms of properties.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
I'm not trying to say that there will be increases.
No, I know.
But it's not gonna be a one for one type. Increase at the current rate. Okay,
And then the second thing we wanted to mention, we did have I did do a walkthrough at the conference center for the elections with our moderator, Patty Fergal.
mhm,
And Terry Wade joined us as well, and with the conference center staff, and just reviewing what their facilities are. And Patty, I think, was almost certain to be at the front banquet rooms, where we were for previous elections there. So, but she hadn't given that 100%, but I'm pretty sure that's where direction she's going.
so both the moderator and the town clerk seem at this point to be
We're gonna sketch out
satisfied
a
enough
little layout, a little floor
And then-
plan, just
okay.
to,
to work out the details.
Is it handicap accessible?
it is.
Yeah, and so far, the moderator and the town clerk are okay.
Are okay with it? Okay, good. It's coming up soon,
So
September.
they have that little elevator back in service.
They do.
Yeah.
It's a little slow, but they work.
Any questions on admin? Everything else is
Pretty good.
tracking.
Okay. I think that takes care of the department heads. Calendar review, so our next select board meeting is on the 10th at 3 p.m. We have a special planning board meeting tomorrow to go over the master plan. That's at 8 a.m. here. That would be July 28th. And then we have a regularly scheduled planning board meeting on the 11th of August at 8 a.m. Okay, anybody? We good? I think we handled new business.
Yeah, can you move to Mike? I mean, he's been being
Oh.
patient. We have his email here from the solid waste committee.
Yes,
In your packet, so.
yes, okay.
That is third or fourth page down. There's.
This is transfer state, no, what,
Recommendations from the solid waste committee.
I think you can read them. Better than I can say it, probably. Basically, the two recommendations that I was ready to vote was not unanimous. It doesn't matter, it was passed. One is that there should not be any waste barrels in post office. I would tell you in the last week, I have visited, which is not always easy for me with what I am on. 4 other post offices in the area. Remarkably, they all have barrels in them. That's has nothing to do with what we do or do not do. My understanding is that you have that decision, whether or not you want to have any barrels there.
Seems to me, given the amount of junk mail we all got, yet that it's pretty convenient to have trash barrels there.
I don't disagree with that, but that was the vote of the committee.
okay. And the other,
The other is, some people feel that a blue dumpster is an indication that it is a recycling dumpster. And that my understanding in talking to people is that periodically dumpsters are rotated for maintenance. Correct? Did I get that right? And that the suggestion is that when they are rotated for maintenance, they all be painted whatever green that is. Because it does not appear that we will be having, we'll have some discussion next Tuesday, but have any kind of town-wide recycling that will be using those dumpsters in the foreseeable future. I don't know what foreseeable is. But
No, that's fair enough. fair
it's, you know, it's years, not days. Those are the two items, and it is up to you to make your decisions.
Well, first, want to thank everybody on the committee and your chairmanship of the committee and moving forward in these things. Very helpful to the board, whatever we decide.
The other thing I gave you, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the dumpster
I gave you a dumpster.
list, yes.
Along with some comments on some of them.
Yes,
In some cases, there are clearly no issues. They are, have proper fencing. They are not, and if they don't have proper fencing, for example, Black Bear is an example. The way the rules currently are, if it is not visible, and we've had this discussion, which surprised me a little bit, is that it is the way our regulation is written, way means road, public road. So for example, in the place of Black Bear, which currently has no front, it is visible from Devereaux and Norwood, right? However, those are private ways, therefore they don't count. It is not visible from a public road, therefore they're not in violation. That's the way the ordinances are currently written. The other thing that surprised me, and I kind of made a little note in there, and it's something that we can talk about at more length. One of the things that we're going to talk about later in the year, get rid of this and some other things. And I want your input, whether or not we should be changing the definition of way. So for example, in at least one case, if you're all over it, the back of the dumpster is clearly visible from a hiking cross-country, or whatever you want to say. That is not a violation as it stands today. Because as it stands today, my understanding is, and Mark shake his head yes, even though I don't want to shake my head no, and it's yes. Like I said, a public way only applies to a road. So that if you're cross-country skiing coming down Valley Road and you can clearly see that dumpster, it is not a violation, or hiking down it or whatever, it is not a violation. It is something that we on the Municipal Solid Waste Committee will be discussing later in the year.
And that would be a wording change.
I was going to say for town meeting
That's all.
on a zoning. So if you guys in the committee want to work something like and bring it to us.
That I mean, we
I
did it
don't have
last
any.
year and
Right.
obviously it was.
Yeah, no, it worked out well.
I think that's something that I'm gonna,
Yeah.
There will be other requirements that in that ordinance, that particular ordinance.
We'll need to tinker.
Probably change.
if we have other, if there are
Right.
other things
Okay.
we have to tinker with, I think the.
All right.
Current ordinances are better than they were,
We'll continue to
but we
tinker.
still need to tinker with some,
Okay.
and that will be a tinker.
Okay, that's fine. I think we'll await your further discussions on including trails
I have a
to
question.
ways. Let me just get to the three things you mentioned first,
Okay,
very quickly. I think the board will need time to assimilate the dumpster report as to what to do. This may take a separate meeting, just like parking, to determine if you want to take any action against any dumpsters that are not in compliance with current ordinance. My great concern is just, again, treating everybody similarly. There are two big issues with the dumpster closures, and I hate to see one commercial entity enforcement action on one, but not on the other.
I'm not
So-
making, you know.
No, I'm saying we're gonna review it.
It is my understanding
Right.
is that our
Right.
charge was to get you that piece of paper.
And you did, and so we will review it and
And I'll be happy to be here, assuming that I survive my.
Sure.
Surgery next week. My never ending surgeries. I'll be happy to be here and whatever.
okay,
Whatever.
fair enough.
Okay.
And on the second issue brought up, does DPW have any difficulty with when you're doing routine maintenance on a dumpster? Do you usually I mean, if it's blue, does it matter if you paint it green at that time while you're doing other maintenance?
We have no
An issue?
facility in order to paint them.
Okay,
It's not a hand painted thing. That would be a spray booth and.
and we do not have that. Okay,
Just out of curiosity, Jim. I
Yeah.
Apologize for jumping in. Because I'm gonna have to report that back. Do you have any idea ballpark what the cost of that would be? $1, $1,000, $500?
It would be
A guess. I mean, I respect your guesses.
50% of the dumpsters are blue. In order to get 35 to 40 of them painted, I would think that they would run us.
so let me put it, go ahead, I'm sorry, finish your
And it
sentence.
would have to be done someplace outside. I'd have to have a painter come in.
Well, let me put it to the board then, I mean,
How many are,
discussion.
how many are blue?
Whether to move forward with it.
Almost half,
I would, yeah, so that's
Probably.
30 to 40.
I went and counted, it's about half.
Rich,
Yes, I'm sorry, Eric.
would you all consider experimenting with spray painting one of them? Put cardboard on the floor or whatever it is, plastic tarp. Spray paint one of them with a green can of paint. If it works, then you've saved yourself thousands of dollars in another fashion.
I would just depend on our experts as to whether or not something like that would actually work
I mean,
before I'd answer that.
you can do it, but I don't have manpower to
Okay,
do something like that.
Manpower.
okay.
That would just
That was.
take an inordinate amount
Well,
of time.
let me see if any, Margaret or, Bob, do you want to pursue this at all? Painting them green to blue, or either as an experiment or just leave them the way they are?
Doesn't
Are
excite
you
me.
two looking at me?
Well, it doesn't excite me a whole lot, but
You know, it doesn't really excite me either because, again, the majority of people that are using the dumpsters know that we don't have recycling and that they don't make a distinction between green and blue. So,
Okay, and I'm put off by the cost and all of that aspect of it, more than anything else.
Can I bring up my other?
Well, I want to get to your first issue. So I think, so the decision is just keep the dumpsters the way they are. On your first issue, which was, I'm sorry, Erin, I can't see, but did you want to say something on that last issue?
Small comment to answer Bob about the trash can at the post office.
Well, I was going to get to that, but go ahead. Yes, why don't you? That was the first issue we had.
Also say, Margaret, that there are too many people in town who think we do recycle, whether they're guests or visitors or just weekenders. I'm surprised the way you are, but they still think we recycle when they see blue bins.
and the consequence of that is,
The consequence,
yeah, what is the problem if people think that the blue dumpsters are for recycling?
then they throw their recycling in blue bins, so that's
I think you're talking two different things
two
here.
different things. So
Erin is talking about, but she's talking about the bins the blue bins that were in not the dumpsters, but the blue.
Yeah,
bins.
she's still talking about the dumpsters. She's talking
Oh, all
about.
right,
the
well then
dumpsters.
you're talking about both. All right, I'm sorry. I'm not tracking very well.
Yeah, people have come to us and said both of those things, but I thought you were recycling, so I have to say, as Mark has repeated, we do recycle appliances, electronics, and.
We do commercial recycling, yes.
Recycling, but we never asked you about newspaper, paper, plastics. No, we do not.
Right,
So to answer Bob, I think one of the reasons not to put trash cans there, just what you said, they take their junk mail and they throw it in there. So junk mail is paper. And they could take their paper easily to either their hometowns, many come from Massachusetts, or Hannaford. We have been saying this on several occasions. Hannaford has paper recycling. It's not an extra effort really to bring your paper to the outside bins that they have at the front of the store. On your way
that's
in.
not what the purpose of those bins is. And I would also note, we If we, all 670 of us,
And
gathered up our paper and took it to Hannaford, we are moving the cost of getting rid of that paper to Hannaford. That's not right.
There is another thing that we can consider that we'll be talking about at the committee. One of the discussions that I've been having with various organizations, including Hannaford and Market Basket and another commercial organization in Plymouth, is that we could bring back what we used to have, which is barrels at specific locations. And we can have up to 6 of them with various things that we'll be discussing here.
Well, why don't we talk about that at the municipal solid waste
Discussing
committee?
at length, either next Tuesday.
All right,
Or
let's
depending
do
on
that.
how long it goes, the first Tuesday in September, assuming I survive next Wednesday.
okay, but right now, I just want to clarify, there are no blue recycle bins in the post office, they're just trash cans.
Right.
So,
And to your point, visitors and guests don't go to the post office. So the people who go to the post office are regular people,
Right.
people who live here. Residents that get their mail, those are the people who go in the post office, so.
Many of whom walk.
True.
present company included. And I think there are 2 posters up there which say that the town does not recycle. I think your group actually put them up. Can we put one of those posters, tape it down to the desk, just say that there is no this is not recycling? I mean, why don't we try something like that? Just to see if it'll make a difference, and
Do what with it?
just a piece of, there are a couple posters on the bulletin board saying that nothing here is recycled. I just take one of those and tape it to the table. I'll put it right in front of the table there, and that way people can read. They're not blue anymore. And then people can decide for themselves whether they want to throw their junk mail there or take it to Hannaford for their recycle program.
Yeah, and I do not have a problem with people who are visiting, taking it back to their hometown where they are paying taxes for the disposal of their rubbish. I don't think we should be trying to shift the cost that we have up here to Hannaford. And I don't think that's what Hannaford intended when they put small blue barrels outside of their supermarket. So that, for instance, if you come in a car and you've got a drink in the car and you finish the bottle, oh, I'll recycle it here. Or you're coming out of Hannaford and you have a receipt that you don't want to hold into, I'll put it in the paper bag. I think that's what they intended when they put those out. They didn't intend for 600 people from Waterville Valley to bring all of their paper down there and put it in those little receptacles.
It's small.
They're very small.
It's hard to get anything in.
Yeah.
I think, and just to close out the discussion and to move on, everybody loves your passion about this. We're just in a real bind right now, and we're trying to find ways to move forward that we think are a good compromise. So I guess that's my final statement on the matter.
Mr. Chairman, can
You-
we go into the transfer station discussion?
Well, since we're talking trash, let's
We are
continue,
trash,
let's
yeah.
continue to talk trash.
So in the month of June, we received an inspection from the Department of Environmental Services. And we have been given 10 corrective actions that we have to take. We are currently discussing those corrective actions with DES, solid waste staff. They were supposed to get more information back so we could discuss it this afternoon, but they did not get back to us. So we're going to have to talk about this at a future meeting, but the most important things are that immediately within the next 30 days right now, according to the inspection, we have to secure the central dumpsters or get rid of them. and we have to control access. And have set hours of operation for any solid waste collection that we have that is centrally located and not located at the source. So they do not regulate any of the dumpsters that are up here in the town area or at the condominiums or anything like that. Those are considered source collection, and that's not regulated in the DES regulation. However, when we bring the dumpsters together and put them separate from the neighborhoods, that is when we have to enclose it, put a gate, have a tag system of some sort, identification system, and have it made. We have requested from DES that we be allowed to institute that way of doing the central, when we set up the new interim transfer station, which we are planning to do. However, their initial response to that has been, you can't have a year to do that. If you could build it in the next 30 days, then you can do it.
While we wait for the permits from them. To
That's, well,
It's not the state,
yes.
right?
So we're still waiting for their response. I think the 30-day period will be from when they get back to us. But right now, we are going to have to come up with an all new way of doing the central solid waste collection area.
For about a year until
For
we
about a
move it.
year
I think this
until
is
we
the
move
question
it.
you were
And
asking,
then
ask
it'll-
John.
It
About
will
the,
be-
yes, it will be enclosed
it'll
and
be
manned.
enclosed, it'll
the
be manned,
interim.
It'll be gated.
Right. Right now, we're working on an interim transfer facility.
With limited access.
Yes.
It will be secured and manned in
Well,
hours to
And
be
we have
determined.
several options that we're talking to them about on how to do this. Because there is obviously an education process, a communication process that we're gonna have to go through because those 9 dumpsters represent about 12 or 13% of our total dumpsters. And they constitute almost 25% of our collection. So they are used way out of proportion to the number compared to the other dumpsters around.
I mean, the good news is that we'll have a year to come up with a process on how to run a secured, fenced-in, managed hours facility, which will be running in up there off of Tecumseh Road for what, 3-4 years
Probably.
at least, while this our new facility, wastewater treatment facility is being built. But we got to come up with something in the next, not even, well, in the next few months that we can potentially, if we get a little bit of a grace period for then a little bit of an extension, something this fall to
Yeah,
deal with it.
if I would have to guess, this will be mandated before Thanksgiving, so by the time we get into the new ski season, new holiday seasons, we'll probably have to have whatever we're gonna do set. So-
Yes, I see a hand back.
We'd be considering a code system.
Code as
Code
in,
as in like a garage
No.
door.
You can't do that because it has to be made.
Okay.
So whenever that gate is open, we have to have at least 1, if not 2, town staff in there. And we licensed by the state of New Hampshire. And we have to have a tag system, so vehicles are gonna have to have stickers or we're gonna have to, again, we have to figure out what that looks like. But only people who have stickers are going to be allowed to drop trash. Huge 180-degree change from what we currently do.
I think we were told we were the only town in New Hampshire that had a 24/7
That's what.
and
they-
open
that's-
24/7,
That's what they do.
365
So,
municipal solid waste. facility.
I mean, it will solve one problem. We won't have people coming in from out of town to dump their trash anymore.
No.
Yeah, unless they leave the bags at the gate.
Well, that's always gonna be an issue.
Well,
Wherever we are.
You talk to some of the other transfer stations, that is an issue. All right.
Yep, and,
With some of the other transfer stations, where people come along and it is because it's what, 4 days for 8 hours at. Camp
Not
Control?
even.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean,
And not open on
we'll just
Sunday.
have to have some sort of surveillance system, cameras
They
or
keep
something.
going back and down, same thing with Tamwood, same thing with somebody else. And when I talk to people, I know the guy over at Tamwood pretty well, and he says, yeah, every time we go there, one of the first things we have to do is take the trash that's been piled up against our fence.
Right,
It-
well, we'll see, we'll have to
it
do.
is something we
avoid
have
that.
to talk about.
Okay,
Can I bring up one other issue, potential
please,
discussion issue that we're going to discuss unless you tell me not?
go for it.
I've had, fairly extensive discussions over the last week with the two commercial pickup composters. What does that mean? That means that, depending upon the number of people we would have in town, is how much it would cost either for the town or for that resident. So let's suppose that, like they have in Amherst, New Hampshire, for example, it's $10 per month. And they come once a week. They give you a container, you fill your container with compostable items, and I'm not gonna go through the list. I think most people know what it is. They come, they take it, give you a new thing. And that compost goes away. They take care of it, they compost it, they then sell the compost. I don't know what the compost percentage is in Waterville. A lot of that depends upon what percentage of places we have that have disposal. It's not every place, and not every place uses them. I would not be recommending this be an expense of the town. I don't think that's appropriate. I don't know if that's something that has to be approved by the select board, or if it's something that if the municipal solid waste committee negotiates it, sends out a thing in the wigwag or wherever and says, okay, tell me how many people are actually interested in this. We get sufficient interest, we can just do it, or do we have to give you approval to do that? I apologize for springing this on you.
Well,
But you know where I mean, you guys know where I live, you can always come talk to me about it.
you'd have to have a place to put it, right?
Well, basically what happened-
I think,
The only word that I'm hung up on is negotiate. So the solid waste committee cannot negotiate anything on behalf of the town.
Correct.
If you want to make a private arrangement with a company,
that's
then.
Yeah.
to
go
pick
ahead
up
and
whatever it
do
is in your
As
property.
far as distributing information to people.
Right.
You know, the.
So let me
we could
rephrase,
facilitate
let me rephrase.
mailing.
Can the municipal solid waste committee provide information to the town residents that this is an option and see how many people would be interested in?
Well, you're an instrument of the select board, so I would always want to clear anything with the select board,
By my
either the
household.
town manager. Well, I'm not the select board, and I'm just one vote of three.
Well, cool, I was by our house.
But I would,
No, but I
Yeah.
think bringing, if you guys
well, that was my
do
next
some
point,
investigation,
right?
bring information into the board, we can have a discussion
Okay.
like this.
So the municipal solid waste committee can find out what's out there, find out if people are interested, and then come back and say there is an interest.
Well, let's discuss it at the municipal solid waste committee.
Nothing.
Yeah, we can discuss it, what this is, what the it is, and this, you know, what the
Okay.
antecedent is, at a municipal solid waste committee, and,
I hope to discuss this.
let's do it there. And then you can get a more, polished version of the select board. Okay.
But Mark, let me ask the question, if a group of employees who were interested, a group of residents who were interested in composting went out and set up their own arrangement, would there be any requirement for, no. There
I
would be
wouldn't
no
think so.
requirement for selectman review or town review. If it.
It's a
if
private
group
contract,
of
right?
Private individuals
Right.
went out and.
This,
did
this was,
this.
the only reason that it would be from the municipal solid waste committee is they would be the organizer, if you will. I don't want to even organize. They would be the people presenting the information to the town. And once there is. a-
Information is good. Let's talk about it at the Municipal Solid Waste
Okay.
Committee
It
meeting,
is
but
something, it is something that I think
yeah. I mean,
could be positive for the town.
I mean, to me, this is, could be something like EV stations, you know, if a
Yeah.
condo association wants to go out and deal with compost with the company or EV station, whatever on their property, then I don't think the town has a say in the matter.
That's fine.
Okay,
That's good.
looking, sorry, no more hands on it. All right, we are done with trash
I'm never done with trash.
for the time being. All right, I see, road project. Shall we go on to road project or
Sure. Yeah.
let's go on to road project then?
You will, go ahead. Okay.
I think you gave us a handout.
We had a contract signing and a pre-construction meeting for the road project last Tuesday morning with RM Piper, the selected low bidder, and with Josh McAllister from HEP Engineers. And the contract has been signed. The first change order changing the contract price has been signed and is in place. We do not have a construction schedule as of yet, but in talking with the contractor, the majority of the road work will most likely be done next year due to the late start that we will get this year. But what you'd like to do.
Can I have the audience,
But what
Thank
he'd
you.
like to do is he'd like to identify, there's a bunch of things that he can do. So he can identify, cross pipes, culverts, if you will, replace those. And, get them, he can get quite a few of those done. There's a few other things that he can do, prior to reconstructing the roads. And then with the understanding that any cross pipes or any pavement interruptions would have to be temporarily paid for winter maintenance. So,
Like you did out near the golf course.
correct.
Right.
Yeah. So we may be looking at that. So there's quite a bit of work that can be done within the next couple of months. Specifically, probably September, October. And then button up for the winter and then go at it, starting first in the spring, when they can get to it, so. But we don't have a construction schedule yet, which should be forthcoming within the next few days, hopefully.
But the construction will be limited this fall.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, very limited. And then the actual reclamation, the road rebuilding and the repaving will start
Oh,
as
next
soon
year.
as the construction season opens in the spring.
Is there a conflict with that and what we're gonna do for the new temporary transfer station?
No, actually, it's complementary.
Right.
Yes,
It should come together.
because we got a new apron that we have to build and the entrance in. So it'll be good that we're doing the road work. We'll just coordinate that to make sure that the paving.
And there will need to be an extension of that culvert. And the contractor for the road project can leave it for the contractor for the next guy, so he doesn't finish it, so it doesn't have to be dismantled. It can just be extended, and that needs another wetlands permit as well, so.
Which we're in the process of getting.
So, but they'll be complementary, Bob.
During the paving process, is our engineer present to ensure that they are actually doing what we ask them to do?
The day-to-day will be Jim,
Mm-hmm.
and then the engineer will come in and spot check. We talked about that. And I'd like to also couch that in terms of this budget. So
Okay. the reason I asked is that I had a citizen tell me that there had been a contractor in the past that had paved a road here in Waterville Valley and represented that they did a certain amount of underlay and that kind of thing, and they actually did not do it. And it became a problem. And so we want to make sure that the road is being built to the specs that we put together.
And that would be
There are
town staff.
compaction tests requirements, there's materials test requirements that we will be
Okay,
utilizing that are in the contract.
That's correct. There's for materials, it's called the sieve test. It has to pass a certain, and typically for us, it would be of a state spec, same spec that the state uses. So the pavement is specified as to what type of pavement, what the depth is. There are tricks, obviously, but I always carry a tape measure. So, and I know a few of them, so.
So the budget, we have $2,038,616 available in all of our road accounts. We have expended year to date, including the full paving contract, and there is a contingency number in there. We've expended or encumbered $1,998,054. So we have $40,500 remaining for road repairs. And to Margaret's question, the engineering is not in the $1,930,000. So the visits by Josh or one of his
HEB, right.
engineers from HEB would come out of that 40,000. So we're going to have to plus up the road repair account.
Right.
Quite a bit in March. We're gonna need to put some money back.
Another question that I have, I know that there is, I just learned this year, that there is a main water line for the town that runs underneath the 8th fairway. And it comes out to where the road is. Is that going to be disrupted at all by the construction?
I think we addressed that. I
Yeah,
think that
Craig
we
brought that up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
That's approximately 5.5 feet deep.
And we're only going down.
Right.
2 feet.
In that section there, Margaret, that you're talking about, will be reclaimed to a depth of 12 inches. So,
so the bottom line is there'll be no repaving. The roads will be as they are. There'll be some underlying work, culvert work,
Correct.
this
And then some temporary paving, patching
patching,
where they
right?
do the drainage.
So but we're not gonna have the bike paths and the
The crew, actually,
pedestrian.
it's gonna be the same crew that's working in Conway right now, according to the contract.
But all those bike paths and pedestrian paths, that's next spring.
yeah, you won't see those boxed out or
Okay,
paved or anything.
so to the extent that we would have potentially approved some paving for 2023.
So we have asked the HEB engineers to take their study that they did of all of our roads and to look at Boulder Path Road, Snows Mountain Road, and Boulder Path all the way to the Cascade Ridge intersection, and give us a price to do the same engineering that they did for this project on those roads. And then we can discuss how much that is.
and whether to put it in the budget.
And whether or not to
next
put
year.
it in the
Yeah.
budget.
And-
So
and-
we wouldn't do that work until 24.
Okay. But why Boulder Path Road? I know the problems with Snows Mountain Road.
Well, Boulder Path Road is the next feeder. So we're trying to get the bike path, pedestrian path extended out from the center of town. So that was the next road on that list. of trying to go from the center of towns out. Valley Road is in very good shape. So we don't need to repair it or repave it right now, and we have some issues, big cost issues, like what are we gonna do with all the granite curbing, and are we gonna take that out, or are we gonna, keep it or whatever? So those discussions are gonna take a while. So that's why we had targeted those roads next. And if you're gonna go up and do Snow's Mountain Road, because it's in such poor shape, you don't wanna leave Boulder Path Road in its current condition and then have a brand new repaved road off of it.
Don't we have some water, water line sewer, not sewer, water line issues on both?
On
On
Snow's
Snow's Mountain
Mountain
Road,
Road,
too.
yes, and we will be talking to Joe Duchamp about giving us a price to redo that as well at the same time, because you're absolutely right, there's no sense in repaving that and then going in and doing all the water out.
You anticipate trying to get funds authorized next year for in 23 town
There
meeting
is-
for 24
Yes,
for these projects.
we would go with a number to do the engineering, so
Right,
additional money
okay.
for road repairs
Right,
would be one item.
right.
And then item number 2 would be engineering of
The
these
next
major
phase,
roads,
right,
the next phase.
phase of the project.
And then with the idea to come back to fund, get
In
the
24.
authorization in
And
24
24,
to do that.
So essentially, we're skipping a year though, right?
Well, we have to,
We delayed
if this
the year.
number, number were 100,000, I would recommend to you that we do the engineering right now. If whatever they could do.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, they're stacked up with work, and I don't know that they can get us on their schedule until 23 anyway. So we might as well appropriate the money. Or request the money.
All that has to be surveyed
And it has to be surveyed, and their surveyor isn't available till next April, so. Right, that's what it said.
pretty much in a nutshell.
Anything else on roads at this point from anybody?
Does that, I mean, are we going in the right direction, do you think, or what?
Well, I think people will be disappointing that no paving is taking place. Yeah, but it's not a whole lot we can do. I mean, on the other hand, I think people do understand that everything supply wise, employment wise is just slowed down.
I think when we're talking to people, the delay was trying to get back within our budget.
Right.
Because I don't think, once we got.
The low
bids
bid
back,
was
the low
the bid was
our
more than what we
budget,
had, so that's why we had
We
to
had to,
work on a change order, and that slowed things up months.
yeah,
And months brings us into winter.
Good.
that's,
Good. All right, so do we have anything on the new treatment plant project review? Is that I think that's the only thing left under old
I think
business.
Oh, it-
Okay. Board concerns and directives.
Master plan comments?
yeah, master plan.
Yep. You tell me what you want and I'll throw it at the board tomorrow.
Well, I did,
I did get I saw what you wrote and then I think Mark replied,
Well, I didn't reply.
but
I
you
just
made
some
comments. You made some comments.
I mentioned this to Bob, my issue is to make sure in that, town hall item, I told Bob the revisions are fine if you want to go with the 3 bullets that he drafted up. My only thing would be either mentioned within those bullets or before or after, or a 4th bullet, something about regulations, because that's driving a lot of this separation, especially public safety from admin. The requirements for the public safety files and access to their operations and everything is really coming from federal and state guidance. It's not something that Dave and Patrick are coming up
so you just want to be responsive to federal,
to any
changing federal guidelines.
Yeah,
Federal-
because it's much more restrictive mean, even the handling of reports and stuff that Alicia and Sharon do. Has changed a lot in just the last couple of years. So,
So, I mean, do you have the language that,
well, I don't really have language for it.
Okay.
It's the idea of that regulatory requirements. I don't care how it gets written into it, as long as it's included. I mean, maybe.
yeah, I'm trying to think how to do it practically now, because tomorrow is, we're trying to put.
Have Tara include it in those statements. I mean, are you
Right.
guys okay with the 3 bullets that Bob came up with?
Yeah, no, I thought they were fine. So basically to take what you had written and compress it into those 3 bullets and then add something on federal and state regulations
And their impact on those 3 things.
and their impact on those 3 things.
Yeah,
So do you want to just,
You want to, I can just take it tomorrow and
yeah,
push it forward, and we may not get it done tomorrow. I mean,
I mean, those are just my ideas. So
Right.
they might say, we don't like that idea.
right. Yeah, we can discuss these. We can discuss these tomorrow, I think. That's not an issue. Just go down every page. I mean, we go down every page anyway, so.
I mean, some are like corrections, like
Right.
it said
Yeah, I see what you're sorry.
Waterloo Valley Inc. or something, which isn't right. So that's just the correction, but
Right.
others are, suggested wording changes.
Okay.
He slogged a lot better than I did.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it was quite a slog, and I have yours in an email. I think you mentioned
Yeah.
a couple points. I'll raise them tomorrow, and then we'll see what, what the taskmaster has for us. The one board concern I had was getting the arrows right on the sign.
yes, we're contacting,
Get a little sticker on
we're
it.
gonna put a sticker on and get the arrow pointing in the correct.
On what?
direction. Which one? There's like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, they're the same front and back, so, but one way
Oh,
is
on the
correct.
back side.
On the back.
Double
What are you
sided.
talking about?
So the new signs, that directional signs that were put up on the new posts for bikes and hikers,
Circle.
it's the same on both sides, so one side points you correctly, say towards Cascade Path, and the other side also points you to Cascade Path, but it's back the way you just came. It didn't,
Gotcha, they didn't flip the arrows.
they didn't flip the arrows. Okay, so that's in train. Any other board concerns, directives, correspondence? I didn't see any. I think we dealt with the one piece of correspondence.
The answer is no from the state on moving any of them out here.
Oh, you just got the answer.
By 3:06 p.m.
All right, well, let's go ahead and,
They have a problem with our creating more source dumpsters.
So then we're back to the,
They said no to moving any of those dumpsters out here to the.
Out to the community areas.
we should probably then, yeah,
That's bad.
check our schedules and
Yeah.
to go over, and did it give us any idea on an extension yet or anything like that, or do you need to read it and just let it and
They,
pick a date to get together?
the town may choose to develop an alternative solution that meets the requirements of the solid waste rules, i.e.
Right.
enclosed. Otherwise, the town would have to implement one of the 2 options.
That they already gave us. They have a timeline on it though yet.
They did not, he did not address the town.
Okay.
well, what they wanted before was they wanted us to,
We can revisit timelines for correction based upon the option chosen. In no case will it be acceptable to wait until a new facility can be built.
So we were supposed to have 30 days to give them a proposal,
Right,
and then the proposal would say when we want to implement it.
And the two options, just remind us of the two options they think are acceptable.
Now, completely enclosed and man. What we have now,
the trash truck.
The trash truck,
Option.
option, so.
What is the trash option?
we put a trash truck by your house and people come and they.
No, well, we put,
I already have two dumpsters, big,
we put a,
construction dumpsters near my house.
we put a truck out one day a week at a location. And people bring their trash to the truck. Can only be run during daylight hours and one day.
That's terrible.
Anyway,
Right, well, let's-
we've got a lot of work to do, so.
Yeah. Mark, why don't you go ahead and digest what it says? Our next select board meeting isn't until the 10th, 2 weeks from today. I suspect though that we're gonna need to meet prior to that to go over some of this next week. How's your schedule looking for you guys next week?
Monday or Tuesday are better for me than, I start, my garage roof work starts on
Are you
Wednesday,
gonna be up on the roof yourself?
probably not.
I hope not.
And Thursday I have a dentist appointment in
Yeah,
Vermont.
Monday or Tuesday works for me. Tuesday, we have the 10 o'clock community meeting, but if we can't make
Is
it, we
that
can't make it.
maybe better, Margaret?
No, afternoon is actually not better for me because I have a regular activity on,
Okay.
yeah.
Is that Tuesday or Monday or both?
But Monday and Tuesday in the morning is fine.
Okay. You want to just dispose of it Monday morning sometime? Does that give you a chance, or Tuesday morning?
Yeah, I mean, I'm.
Which better for you guys? I'm open either.
Monday's
I'm ready.
Monday's better for you?
Mhm.
Okay. You want I assume you don't want another 7 AM.
No.
Meeting.
No.
We looking at something like, I don't know, Monday at 10 o'clock? Does that give you,
That's fine.
does that work? Does it give you time to come in and see what's in your inbox for the week before you? Okay. So Monday, August 1st at 10 AM? Good.
I'm not sure if we meet here, this is gonna be available.
Oh, that's right. We don't have it.
Monday, so that would be.
Oh, yeah, we're Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Want to do Tuesday then?
Well,
Or we
do-
could meet in your office.
No, we can meet in my office.
We just have to notice them.
Yep, we'll just notice it.
All right.
Yeah.
In your office, 10 o'clock, August 1st? Okay, well, that was a fitting end to the whole issue. Okay, is there anything else anyone has? Do we have to go into now? Yep, you have something?
No, we're
I
waiting
think
till
we
we
need,
go off.
don't go into non-public. Yeah,
We have something for non-public?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a motion to go into non-public.
so moved.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous in the non-public, and